What's up, Star Chasers, and welcome to another drawing video. Here I'm going to show you a speed drawing of a anatomy study that I did. This was all drawn on my iPad just using the basic pencil tool and the eraser tool, and I used the pen control from the Apple Pencil to add more pressure for more intensity and less pressure for less intensity. So very simple tools. The idea was studying how fabric drapes on the human body. So in the top hand corner, I did a study of part of a leather jacket. And then here now I'm just drawing a portrait of a random guy I found on the Satori list. Kind of a fashionable guy having a coffee, and so decided to draw him based off of the folds in his jacket. So first I did a very light sketch of the general body shape, and then I'm going in and refining some of those details. Again, as I was saying before, just using some very light pressure to block in the general shapes, and then adding harder pressure to go over those areas where we have really dark shadows. So that way it comes out quite with some subtle detail where you can still see the shape, especially around that armpit area where you've got more of a darker shadow. With my iPad, I was using Adobe Fresco, which is kind of like the simple version of Photoshop for an iPad. And I just used the pencil tool and then also the eraser tool. So if some of the shapes were not looking quite right, I would go back with the pencil tool, or I'll go back with the eraser tool and add some soft variations. So that way you could see that on the left-hand side, we have some darker shapes, but they're not completely black, and that's using that eraser to bring out some of those highlights. I added a bit of a canvas grain texture, so that way the blazer had had a woven fabric look to it. Now I'm working on the shape of the face, so using some straighter lines to try and get some of the forms, such as his nose, and blocking in the shape of the beard and mustache. For people, subtle details are really important to get both their expression but also make it look like themselves. So sometimes you might be a couple millimeters off and it doesn't quite look right. So a lot of back and forwards, drawing and erasing to try and bring out some of those shapes. Here you can see that even the face is quite soft at the moment, and we'll go back in and add more accents. For the hair, some areas are catching more light, so I'm using the eraser to reveal some highlights, and then some areas are in the darkness, especially under the brim of the hat, so we're adding more darker and heavier pressure. Now you can see we're coming back into the face and adding more details, and especially the eyes. I find the eyes have a lot of emotion, so just adding some accents to the eye, having it catch some light, especially on the right-hand side, really gives some emotion to the portrait. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get the right eye and the left eye symmetrical, so you just gotta put a little bit more time and care to balancing them out. And here I'm going back and forwards again, adding more shadows so that on the left side, our left side, the face is hidden in the shadow more, but it's not completely dark. So that's why we always have to kind of go back and forwards, add some darkness, but then pull it back with that eraser tool. when the image is flashing, that's because I'm revealing different layers. What I like about digital art is sometimes you can use different layers to position, and you don't have to only have one piece of paper to put your whole entire drawing on. I think this drawing might have taken like 5 hours or something. But when it's all sped up in one time lapse, it's 5 minutes. Kind of crazy how technologies just condenses it all down. Now, working on the cuff of the shirt and the hand. I actually like drawing hands. I find them to be quite expressive. Started off with some really blocky shapes, as you can see on the right-hand side, and then going in and refining those shapes. One of the most obvious steps is just to make sure you have the right amount of fingers. Sometimes you might think, oh yeah, it's obvious you have 5 fingers, and then you accidentally draw 4. So, oops. So here we are at the end. Video video name is like flashing, but here we are at the end of the time lapse, and you can see the very subtle effects, such as some of the light catching on the fabric of the blazer, the darks, especially under the arms where you have darker shadows. Fingers are a bit more defined. And here, half of the face is hidden while you can see the other side illuminated. Both of these were really similar exercises, but just this one was a basic one on the left-hand side to show how focusing on a part of a leather jacket, how the fabric reacts, especially since it's a heavier material than something softer that would drape. And then applying that same technique here to how that fabric would react to a person wearing that garment. So here we have another thick material like this blazer, and we're seeing the way the folds and the light and the shadow react. So that's it for today's drawing time-lapse video, and I hope to see you again. If you're interested in seeing more speed drawings and art stuff, you can check out my channel. I also do tutorials and give some art tips, so feel free to check out some of the stuff I've done so far, and you can subscribe if you like art and you want to see more of my stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you later, everybody.